Democratic consultants lash out at voters as racist and sexist. And you write that the Kamala Harris campaign raised and spent well over $1 billion, while its major super PAC, Future Forward, contributed over $700 million. And just for a second, I'm going to pull up Open Secret's kind of breakdown of the spending here. You can see the million there from the campaign, about $700 million from outside groups. So the campaign actually the official campaign actually outspent the Trump campaign. The outside money is pretty close, with the outside money slightly outspending the Harris campaign. But to continue with your post here, you said, yet the result was a catastrophe for Democrats across the board, and talk about the new coalition he's put together. And in response, the DC consulting class is lashing out at voters they failed to persuade. Tell us what you make of that reaction, Lee.
Well, as the post mentions, this campaign was much more than $1 billion, possibly $2 billion of a catastrophe, because we don't know the full numbers. Though when Open Secrets and the Federal Election Commission post those numbers, we don't see the last 3 weeks of the campaign, only some of the independent expenditures. The actual number is probably much, much higher. And, I think it's just part of human psychology, rather than internalizing the blame and self-reflection about maybe mistakes in terms of the process, the candidate, the values, the policies, the message. It's much easier to blame the voters. No, the country is inherently racist or sexist, or, it's the kind of stages of grief too. In the post, I also show that one of the major consulting firms, Dewey Square Group, this is a firm that advised the Harris campaign and the DNC, that one of its partners was the chair of the Chicago convention. They were in denial too. They said that, the big shift of Latino men into the Trump column, all those exit polls are wrong. Well, we're seeing consistent results among the Associated Press, NBC, ABC, Edison Research, a few other exit polling firms. The major kind of 97% Hispanic counties along the U.S.-Mexico border, including Starr County, really having some of the largest swings in the entire country from Democrat to Republican. So, the proof is there, but I don't think these consultants who have made a lot of money in campaigns, and of course, it's not unique to Democratic consultants. Political consultants make a large cut of the advertising they produce. They charge a lot of money. Sometimes the results are not kind of matched with their compensation structure. But these Democratic consultants who have made a killing in this campaign, they're not, some of them are not really in the mood for self-reflection.
What exactly explains the gap between white progressives and pretty much everyone else? I mean, one thing I keep thinking about is, I'm a New York City resident. I'm a resident of Queens. And you look at the more granular data as to how New Yorkers voted. And it's fascinating because you can really see by neighborhood the degree to which so much of New York warmed up to voting for Trump this time around. The 2020 versus 2024 vote results were fascinating. You see the shift rightward in, across so many boroughs. But the neighborhoods, when you really drill down to it, that remained very Democratic voting were places like Park Slope. These places that are just, more populated by wealthier, more educated white progressives. These people are also frequently the ones that these campaigns are listening to and coming up, crafting the strategy for how they message. What explains this disconnect between white progressives and, other liberals, but non-white liberals?
Well, this is a phenomenon that we've seen really since the financial crisis over the last 30 years, really across the industrialized West, what Thomas Piketty called the Brahman left, that these center-left parties that were historically created by the labor movement, that were focused on more industrial economy and helping factory workers and agricultural workers improve their lot. As we've kind of seen tectonic shifts in the economy and technology, upper class, highly educated workers, service-oriented workers, people who are lawyers and doctors and that work in media and technology, they've come to dominate the center-left parties of the world, all throughout Europe and Asia, and especially here in the United States. The Democratic Party, if you just kind of look at the personnel, the people who run the party, the big donors, the operatives, including the consultants, these are folks that really reflect a certain class dynamic. They're highly educated, they have graduate degrees, they make over $100,000. The kind of issues that they prioritize are often centered around ideas around identity and historical grievance. There's a very kind of laser focus on offending certain classes of people that are seen as vulnerable minorities. So there's this focus on language, and it's not really just Donald Trump. You see those election results that you're talking about in New York City. That was the Eric Adams coalition. That's a Black Democrat who really campaigned on public safety, on crime, on supporting police. You saw huge factions of traditionally Democratic donors or voters, in the Bronx and Queens and South Brooklyn, really shifting to the Eric Adams camp. And that's the same kind of coalition, the less educated working class, middle class voters shifting to Donald Trump.
Hey, that was a clip from Just Asking Questions. You can watch another one here or the full episode here. And please subscribe to our brand new channel to get us started off right and be notified when new episodes or clips go up. Thanks for watching.